Welcome to 101. I'm Greg Bassett, your host from the Salisbury Independent Newspaper. It's a big day here at Pack 14. It's one of my favorite interviews every year. Chris Bitters from 7th Inning Stretch and the Delmarva Shorebirds. Welcome, sir.
Thank you, Greg. I appreciate it. I love being here as well. And, with everything going on, we're a year late. We're a year late on this meeting. So.
Well, we were talking about that because we have you on every April to talk about the upcoming Shorebird season because we get so excited. And last year you called and said, I don't think I should come in and do the interview. I don't think we should all be in the room together. And I was like, what? And you were right. You were the first person who kind of alerted me to COVID.
Well, thank you. It was randomly enough, I was alerted by one of my employees. I think it was probably in March about some coronavirus that was going on. I was coming back in and out from meetings with clients, and he had said something when I passed his desk, and I kind of shrugged it off. And then next thing you know, I think it was like a week later, all of a sudden the NCAA tournament's getting shut down,
right.
The NBA is getting shut down, and I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. This thing's real more than just some sales rep reading something on the internet. So.
Yeah, it's just amazing. But if anything, this has reminded us how much we love the Shorebirds, and just not having the season last year makes me more excited than ever for a season. I really missed going to the stadium.
Yeah, and I think for our staff, obviously, we've missed it. We've missed seeing the fans, being involved in the community like we normally are. And while that's still a little different now than it was, in 2019,
right?
We're excited to get back at it, and we're excited to welcome our fans back. I mean, I guess normally opening day for me is a lot of handshakes and hugs. Right. I tell people, and so I guess it'll be air fist bumps or elbows or whatever the appropriate thing is to do nowadays. But we're excited to get kind of moving in the right direction, and hopefully with us being back online and able to operate, that'll provide some more sense of normalcy for our community.
So we'll get 60 home games this year, and begins May 1st?
May 4th.
May 4th,
May
okay.
4th is opening day, and it'll be 60 home games, and we play through September 19th. Our last home game is September 12th.
But a little bit later than usual.
Yep, we'll run a couple of weeks later. We're starting a month later, a couple of weeks later. So it'll be 60 home games, and we all just got to keep doing our part, and hopefully there's no hiccups between now and then, which, as everybody realizes, even recently with a major league team obviously had a little hiccup to start their season. We just got to do our part and try to get this thing off the ground.
So when I go to the stadium, what's it going to be like in terms of capacity? What are you going to be allowed to do?
So right now our capacity is technically up to 50% capacity while maintaining a physical distance between patrons. So the reality is we probably won't get quite to 50% just because it's a math equation. You just physically can't do it.
Right.
For perspective, if you had 4 seats in the middle of a section, those 4 seats knock out another 14 seats.
Right.
So out of 18 seats in the middle of a section, when there's 4 occupied, 18 seats, 4 behind it, 4 in front, 3 to the left, 3 to the right, are all.
Just real quick, how amazing that you had to make that calculation. That's part of your job now, is to make a calculation like that.
Yeah. Also part of my job is we have thousands of zip ties, because every seat that's not in a pod format will end up being zip tied up, so you can't physically go sit next to somebody that you're not at the game with already, right, as part of your potted group. So
right.
Our job is to make things feel as normal as possible, make sure people have a great time, but do it in a safe way and follow the rules, whether it be state, local, or we also have MLB rules that we have to follow.
What's been the impact on your business? I mean, your company you work for owns a bunch of different minor league teams. No one played last year.
Yeah, obviously, the reality is that we're a seasonal business. We operate and have income from generally April through September. Obviously, we host some non-baseball events in the off-season, things of that nature. But the reality is our business has had no real true revenue or income since really September of 2019. So
right.
While other businesses that are year-round, had operational income in the fall of 2019 and even into the spring of 2020 before everything kind of shut down. For us, it's been September 2019 with no real income. So it's been a difficult year, but we've kept the majority of staff at some level. We wanted to be prepared, so when this day came, our core staff was able to ramp back up and get the building going and get everything we need to do going. We're adding staff now and rounding out our seasonal staff. But it's been a difficult year. I mean, when you have no revenue for about 18, 21 months. But we tried to make the best of it last year with what we could do for the community, really. The events we hosted weren't about really trying to bring in revenue for the team. They did bring in some revenue, but really it was just to cover the expenses of the different events we tried to pull off,
right,
to make some level of normalcy as we could using the facility and the community last year.
Now, so much news in the last year in terms of the farm team's consolidation and the changes that you were able to lead at the Shorebirds at the Purdue Stadium. I think were part of the reason that the Shorebirds were able to survive the consolidation.
Yeah, I mean, there's a ton of credit that goes into, obviously, I think our operation of the Shorebirds and our relationship with the Baltimore Orioles, the stadium original construction, and then also, the renovations that went in
Great
2015.
changes that you guys just made, yeah.
Yeah, and I think really the big part about that is that, there's two types of renovations. There's the ones the fans really see, the things that the fans experience in effect, and then there's the renovations that are really more geared towards the players. And when we did those projects starting in 2015, the first round of projects that we did lead into all this were all player related. So a lot of the fans were like, when are we going to see the renovations? Because you don't see a new field. We had a green field before, and now we have a green field again.
So beautiful.
Nobody realizes that the old field didn't play great, and it didn't drain.
It did not drain.
And our new field can drain about 12 inches of water an hour. So pretty much if there's a rain event, we can cover the infield, flip the tarp off, give it a half hour, voila, it's kind of back to a, original state field. Whereas before it was, as you've been at games and seen us all out there pushing water around and trying to make things happen, it was quite the mess. So, the projects really went where we started with the player amenities first, locker room, batting cage, field, stadium lights, stadium padding, all of those upgrades. And then we rolled into the fan amenity stuff with new seats and the video board, the wraparound deck, and the things the fans get to see and experience. So I think that was a big part of, why we're where we're at today.
Yeah, the video board, it looks so nice. And the previous ownership, and I shouldn't say out loud, Comcast, they would let lights burn out in the scoreboard, and you couldn't tell what the score was or anything forever. And it's not like that with you all.
Well, I appreciate that. And we've tried to work with the county and our ownership group to reinvest in the facility.
Yeah.
And this year, as we'll probably get into, lots of investments have made by different parties to have us ready for COVID. Operating in COVID is completely different than operating non-COVID, and I think we're well prepared thanks to our support from the local folks in terms of emergency services and the health department's guidance and investments that have been made through various folks in our ownership group to get us to the point we're at today to safely open.
That outfield walkway is just one of the great things ever. I remember as a kid thinking that would be a great thing to have, and that now it's actually there. And it's just great to go out there and take that walk if you've got youngsters and they're distracted. It's just a great little trip.
It is, and we have season ticket holders that are able to come in a little bit earlier on a normal day, and they'll do laps and get their mile in or whatever, get their steps if they're doing it on their watch or their Fitbit or whatever. And my daughter who's 14, she comes out with my wife, and she'll just be with a friend or whatever, and they'll just go, "Hey, Mom, we're going to take a lap." And they would just go take a lap and, come on back up to the seats. And a couple innings later, so yeah, it's a great distraction. Obviously, a vantage point. Nobody's ever seen the game before at Purdue Stadium.
Yeah.
And, it was the last project we did as part of that overall renovation package, primarily because we wanted to make sure the other projects took care of the existing structure before we added new structure. So that was why it was the last project. We were glad we were able to manage all the processes to get there to get that new amenity for fans. But yeah, it's great. July 4th, 2019 was awesome. Just, people stacked out on the deck, and that's a nice new amenity.
So in the consolidation, Maryland lost some teams. What teams did we lose for the Orioles?
So over the last couple of years in the minor league world, there's been a lot of news about a restructuring of minor league baseball with Major League Baseball. And so, in short, for most fans, as it relates to the Shorebirds, nothing changed. We're still the single A affiliate. We're still the same class level of A we were before, and we're still an Orioles affiliate.
Right.
So the average fan, as we were talking before we got on air, they're not going to notice any different. The only thing they might notice different is that some of the teams we play in the league are a little different.
Right.
But what we are and who we are and where we're at in the system is all really the same. So the Frederick Keys are now going to be they're not affiliated with the Orioles directly as players going there. They're going to be a MLB draft league team. So they're going to have players that are going to be playing there that will be in the high prospects in the upcoming draft.
Okay.
And those are players that likely would get drafted and become part of what we do.
Because that was a shame. That was a nice little market, nice little stadium. I don't think they had invested in it like we had our stadium, like you had with our stadium, but it's a nice environment there.
Yeah, no, the ownership group in Frederick and the Keys and their staff, they do a wonderful job, and I'm not involved in those decisions and all that, but yeah, no, Frederick was a great operation.
Yeah.
So Frederick is no longer an affiliated minor league team with the Orioles. Aberdeen essentially replaced Frederick, so Aberdeen kind of jumped up 2 levels, we'll call it.
Right.
And then also in the state of Maryland, the Hagerstown Suns, who were the Nationals low A affiliate like us for the Orioles, they were not part of the restructure as well. So in Maryland, those 2 teams are no more in terms of affiliation. Frederick's can continue to play baseball through the MLB draft thing, and a number of teams that weren't part of the minor league restructuring are now part of either this draft league or a couple different opportunities Major League Baseball provided to keep baseball being played in those communities.
The team that you feed, the Orioles, started off great. They go to Boston, they sweep, and we're all excited, and then they go to New York and they lose 2 in a row. But what's been interesting to me as a Shorebirds fan is how many Shorebirds players there are on the Orioles right now.
Yeah, I mean, Shorebirds on the Orioles and Shorebirds making a name for themselves in the big leagues as a whole. I mean, obviously our goal, is the major league team drafts players, they sign them to minor league level and they develop. And, perfect world, they all go to your major league club, but also there's trades that happen. So, there's reasons why guys go. But, with the Orioles, I mean, you have Cedric Mullins, who's had a great start. John Means, who threw a great opening day. Started,
Unbelievable.
1 hitter through 7, I think he threw. Trey Mancini's back, obviously, after his challenges he had in 2020 health-wise, so we're all thrilled to see that. So there's a number of players.
Ryan Mountcastle was one of my favorites. I really enjoyed him here in Salisbury.
Ryan Mountcastle was a shortstop for us, has had a great minor league career, and he's finally getting his chance at the big leagues. And then when you look around baseball, Yerman Mercedes for the White Sox, I think he set every record possible opening weekend on I think he went 5 for 5 on opening day, and has continued to be hot. I think Dylan Bundy was scheduled to be the opening day starter for the Angels. I'm assuming that happened.
Right.
Hadn't paid much attention, but Zach Davies is out there. Josh Hader, just when you look around the baseball landscape and the guys that have played in Salisbury right here in our backyard, who are now either with the Orioles or making that impact in the big league level, it's just amazing. I mean, every time you turn around, there's a former Shorebird.
It's so cool for me. Those guys that were sitting 10 feet away from me, they're all like major league stars now. It's amazing to see this happen.
It is wild. I mean, and then when I think back to when we hosted the 2011 All-Star Game with Manny, Bryce, those guys have now signed $300-400 million contracts.
Right.
And they were playing right here in Salisbury. We got pictures of them hanging out in the dugout. And, Jonathan Scope is back in the big leagues again now. I forget who he's with. But yeah, I mean, it's I think the community, should remember and should realize that, these guys out here are the best of the best. I mean, they were the best little league player. They're the best high school player, best college player. They might be my number 9 hole hitter, but prior to getting to Delmarva, they were the best player in wherever they were at. And that funnel effect is real as it gets tighter going up. But yeah, it's wild. Yeah,
my joke about Manny, used to ride the bus. Used to be here in Salisbury and ride the bus at awful bus trips down to South Carolina and Georgia.
Yep.
And the real long one out to West Virginia. That was a rough one. But I used to think about that, and now Manny with that contract could buy the bus and could buy the Shorebirds and could buy the stadium and could buy most of Salisbury.
Yeah, exactly. So, but yeah, no, we're obviously it's wild to think about it, and that's where I think it's really funny when I deal with people at different levels, because our relationship with the players, and as you mentioned, you see them in the coffee shop, our relationship with the players when they're minor leaguers is so different than the major league relationship with the players, because when we have them, they're 18, 19, 20, need help, or their parents are coming to town, or this or that, and they're up in our offices all the time. Hey, I need this, or I need that, or can you help me with this? And we have a kind of a really close relationship with them, obviously, as they grow through their career. It's a whole different dynamic, because at the big league level, it's, oh my God, it's Manny Machado.
Right.
For us, it's like, oh, it's Manny, whatever. Hey, man, what's going on? It's a really casual relationship. And I guarantee if Jimmy or I ran into Manny or some of those guys from the past, it's very just like me and you sitting here talking.
Yeah. That's just amazing. You got a new manager for the team, and that manager, of course, is hired by the Orioles as part of the Orioles farm system. But everyone keeps asking me about the so-called female manager, coach who's on the staff. So who is this person?
So yeah, Liz Parado. I think I'm saying her last name right, and if I don't, I apologize. I haven't met her personally yet.
Okay.
But yeah, so she's our strength and conditioning coach. And she's obviously one of the first, I think, females to do that.
Yeah.
But having...
It's exciting to have this.
It's exciting, but having female staff isn't, for me, all that uncommon. I mean, my groundskeeper, Caroline Beecham, she's one of the best out there. And we've had her previously as an assistant. She left us for a while and came back as the head. I mean, the Orioles have Nicole at the big league level as a groundskeeper. So for us, I mean, I know a lot of people are excited about it, and I am too. But I look at, I look forward to working with her, and she's going to do a great job, I'm sure. And, I have 2 daughters, so for me, it is special in that way that
Right.
when my daughters come to the game or the young ladies come to the games, now they see somebody that's on that field that, they can look up to. But, we look forward to having Liz, and if I'm not mistaken, her family's somewhat local.
Yes, she's from Maryland, yeah.
Yeah, she's from Maryland. They're regional, so I think they're, excited to see her as well. And, no, it's big. And, her first year was really last year. It's just
Right.
COVID.
Right.
So, it's kind of weird, like when we talk about our manager, Dave Anderson, he's our second-year manager. But really, he didn't really manage us
Right.
per se, but it's weird to say that he was our second-year manager.
Right. Now, Dave Anderson's a good guy with a lot of good history in baseball.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, a great big league ball player with
Yeah.
the Dodgers and Giants most notably, and yeah, he's been around the ballpark a ton. We just did an interview with him the other day, and he's been a roving instructor for the Orioles for a number of years now. So he's been in Salisbury a lot and familiar with the stadium and the area and all the players and all that. And he's going to be a great asset. Obviously, he's been there and done that kind of guy, and he's really focused on a lot of the new things that are going on in the game with how you're positioning players and I'll call it shifting and things of that nature that are going on. So
What do you got going on this year?
So we're finalizing that now. COVID really threw a wrench in things up until, I guess it was about mid-March or so. We were capped at 250 people. So when we were there, and I think that meant like all people in the ballpark, including players. So we're like, all right, well, that really means like we get like 50 people in this place. So anyways, we're now at the capacities we talked about. So we have a little more flexibility there with how many fans we can have. So we're really going to probably start the season pretty vanilla in terms of promotions and fireworks and those type of things, and really just focus on getting the operation right, making sure our fans are comfortable, do a good job of in-game entertainment, and then really, as we get into the month of June, ramp those things up.
Right.
Just to, right now, as I was saying, just kind of getting the car rolling down the road, make sure we
Right.
got all the, parts are right, everything's working good, and the fans are comfortable, everybody's having a good time, and then ramp up the promotions as we get a little bit later in the summer. So hopefully, I would say end of April, we'll probably have some announcements, and that promotional schedule may be rolling. Because again, with COVID now, things change. Things can, hoping with vaccines and all things are going on, it'll only expand out. But as we saw last year, we expanded some, then we contracted, expanded. So
Right.
we're excited to get rolling. Food services, obviously, we'll have concession lines that are socially distant registers, and we're going to fiddle with a mobile application as well, where you can order from your seat and then go pick it up once it's ready, and all those things that are kind of technologies that we've always had, but we hadn't fully used. I guess we've had them in small ways, and now this is what we do. So it's a pretty big leap there.
You talk about being out in the community and getting involved in things, and you would always tell me that, and I would sort of nod. But then when the things changed in the community and you weren't able to go out there anymore, I became even more aware of that. Like I haven't seen Sherman anywhere in a long time. Talk about, that's one thing with seventh inning stretch. They really believe in giving back to the community, participating in the community. Tell me about the community role for the Shorebirds.
Yeah, we believe that we have to be an active part of the community in all facets of it, whether that's our, in a normal year, our reading programs with schools and our reading program in the summer libraries, being at Little League opening days and having the mascot out there and supporting those Little Leagues with sponsorship and having them come out for a night and have a good time at the ball game. We have our own fund at the Community Foundation that is a fund that we can devise on where the money goes, and we're able to donate money through all that. And one of the cool things we did last year is that, when everything got shut down, we'd already signed all of our season ticket accounts. And so we gave those accounts a couple of different options on keeping with us and rolling their accounts over to this coming season. And one of the options we gave them was a donation option. We gave them a perk option that they could benefit the stadium, or an option to donate some money to the community that we would do on their behalf. And,
Right.
So we'll be coming out here in the next few weeks of a pretty long list of a lot of our ticket holders elected to donate 1% of their account value to different community groups. And so, we really just believe in trying to, the community is what supports us and makes us, for any business, but for us, makes us exist. And so we try to be there for them. It's been really hard with Sherman because of 6 feet social distance.
Right.
So that's been our biggest struggle, and quite honestly, I'm on calls on a weekly basis with minor league executives across the country, and for everybody right now is, what do we do with our mascots during games? What do we do with our mascots in the community? How do you do that? And it's not so much us not being able to maintain a social distance, but if you have a 7-year-old kid or a 5-year-old kid come run to Sherman, and most kids want to give Sherman a hug. That's their natural instinct.
Right.
And you tell a 7-year-old, stop,
Right.
stay 6 feet away. I get some kids will probably get it, but, do I send this kid away crying because he just, you know. So we're in a quagmire right there. I don't have that answer just yet of what's happening. I'm hopeful that as the vaccine keeps happening and we're, rolling, we can come up with some better ideas. We have a few ideas right now, but that's been the hardest part, is having Sherman kind of in hibernation for the last 12 months due to COVID.
Yeah, and someone just said to me recently, they're involved with the food bank, the Purdue Food Bank, and the Purdue gives the money or the food or whatever, the food, and they always celebrate the great volunteers on the field of the Shorebirds, and just how much they missed that last year.
Right. Yeah. I mean, obviously, there's a lot of things. I mean, it was a tough year for our fans, and I can tell you for our staff is, our whole job is to bring people together, bring the community together, whether that be around a cause like food and food insecurities and what the work we do at Purdue and the food banks down in Delmarva, whether that be Little Leagues. Our whole job is to bring people together, and then you get told your whole job is to keep people apart.
Right.
It's completely 180-degree difference of what we are told to do.
Right.
So as we sit there in the office all summer, it was very difficult. And that's why we really tried to plan the drive-in fireworks shows we did, the movie night on the outfield. We did this very small baseball camp for kids. And all the community things, we tried doing virtual things. We tried to pivot as hard as we could to keep engaged with our fans, give the community some sense of normalcy. I think we did that to the best of our abilities. I think people appreciated it. I know the fireworks shows were great. Because, again, we were pushing to try and host a July 4th show. And we tried up until about the week before to find a way to get it approved, and that just wasn't in the cards for us. So I think we did one about a month later. So
what's it like to be the general manager of the year for a farm league? Congratulations, Chris.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, 2019 was a special season.
We didn't get to really celebrate your honor that year.
Yeah, Greg, with most honors, it has nothing to do with the person that gets the honor. It's the team around you.
But you have to build that team, and you have to inspire them. But go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, no, I mean, I appreciate it, but really we have a great team. My staff in Salisbury has been with us. The core of that staff has been with us for a number of years. I mean, I almost forget sometimes how long guys have been with us until we sit back and talk about when did you start or were you here when this player played, and like, man, you've been here 8, 9, 10 years already.
Right.
Or guys like Jimmy who've been with the team before I even got there. So
what a great guy.
It's an honor. Kyle Moore, manager of the year, our pitching coach, I think was pitching coach of the year. I mean, team of the year for minor league baseball. So we swept all the awards. Obviously had a great on-field product. We had a good season in the stands, and I told some people back in about a year ago, I said, well, man, if I knew I was going to break the world by winning minor league general manager of the year for the league, I'll give it back. I just want to get back to do what I do because I didn't realize I'd break things, I guess. I've been here since the fall of 06, so 07 season. So, I mean, there's only 11 years of the team existing before me. So I've been here 14, 15 years and raised my kids here. My youngest daughter, who's now 14, was 6 months when we moved here, I think.
Wow.
And my oldest daughter's a sophomore at Syracuse. So, we love it here. And I really think, the community, the activities I'm involved with, and all the things that make up our area is why it's a good place to live. I really enjoy.
Are we going to be able to keep you, or are there bigger things in store for you?
No, I mean, I always tell people I'm here. I mean, I'm here. I love it. Again, my daughter's a freshman. I want to be here, obviously, for a while longer, and I'm still young, a little bit young, I guess. But no, I mean, we own 3 teams, one in California and one in Everett, Washington, and we got great people that operate those teams. And we're not really a big corporation like you would think with like a major media group or anything like that. I mean, we're really it goes from me to my president to our owner. Like, that's it. I'm 2 down from the top, basically. And the way we run our operations for each of our teams, and that's why we think we've been successful in Salisbury, is that local management makes local decisions. Yeah, do I talk to our team president who's out of our team in California, and do I talk to our owner? Absolutely. But we create the plans, we create the business plans, we create the budgets. We deal with things locally here, and that's why we felt like we could be hopefully successful in Salisbury, because it's not a big corporation making decisions from a big town, big city, in a skyscraper somewhere. There is no skyscraper for us. It's, my boss is sitting in his office and the team in California and our owner. That's it. So everything kind of stops here in Salisbury versus some of that bigger corporate stuff that goes on in bigger companies.
Yeah, when I met your boss, I was so impressed the first time how much he knew about the community. He had read my newspaper.
Mm-hmm.
He knew our coverage. He really understood the community, and so many of the corporate guys don't. but he really seemed to have a handle on what went on down here, and I really appreciated that. And then when I ran into him like a year later, he recognized me.
Right.
I mean, what a great guy.
Yeah, no, he's a great guy. I've worked for him for most of my career, and again, that's where we're a corporate, a business entity, but I mean, we're as local. My president, who's out of our team in California, the Stockton Ports, he's on the ground every day out there. He's at the games every night, just like I am. If he's not there, he's coming here, or he's going to our team in Everett, and we're boots on the ground people. There's no ivory tower anywhere in our world that we sit in, and again, that's what we think we do a job, because what they do in Stockton or Everett, we don't have to do in Salisbury. If it makes sense, great. But all the decisions are generally made right here in Salisbury of how we're going to operate, what promotions we're going to do, whatever we're going to do in the community. We just have our philosophies of being actively involved in the community. That is, the number one driver for what we try to do.
Well, it's so great. I know you focus on the fan experience. Roger Fallabout, one of your ushers, just posted. He got his ID. He's all excited to get started. And he's one of those people, one of the first faces you see when you come in the ballpark. So welcoming. So you focus on everything. It's just great. And we're so excited. We can't wait for May 4th. Who's the first team?
We're playing Salem Red Sox. They used to be Salem Avalanche. Salem Red Sox. They're a Red Sox affiliate, obviously. Right. What that goes without saying, I guess. But they're coming in. And the unique thing is this year, because of COVID, we're playing a series and a homestand are one and the same now. Normally you play a series, which is usually like 3 or 4 games. Right. And another team comes in as part of that homestand. Okay. This year we're playing Tuesday through Sunday. It's a 6-game series, so the same team is in for 6 days. So if you're a fan of baseball and you want to come out every night, you'll see their entire starting rotation. That'll be cool. And then also, it just keeps player movement a little more isolated with everything we have going on, and reduces travel.
And the ticket buying experience online is so easy. Get right to your phone. No lines. It's great.
Yeah, and that's technology we've had, and now it's just how we do it. With ticketing and parking too. I mean, we did so digital ticketing, digital parking. You can take care of both of those well before you come to the ballpark. It'll make your game day experience smooth. But we're not doing any, I'll call it old style tickets where you're printed on what we call ticket stock. If you do come to the stadium, you need help with something, we do still offer print at home.
It's easy.
Yeah, it's really easy. With COVID, people are going to be dispersed throughout the stadium, so the likelihood of you sitting in your exact seat, like our season ticket holders to start, is not very good. Right. You might not be far off, but not very good. And some people will be way far off because, again, as I said.
Well, it's spring. The Delmarva Shorebirds are back. Chris Bitters is here, and we can't wait for May 4th when our Delmarva Shorebirds in their 25th year?
26th year, 25th season, I guess, is technically how it should be
we've
played.
We've missed a season. Yep. And it's been such a great impact on our community. And thanks so much for making it fun and making us appreciate it.
No, Greg, appreciate all you do for the community. Having me on every year is great. Maybe this year we can come in and give a mid-season update or something.
That would be fun.
If things are loosening up with restrictions or things have changed, we can share with the fans what's new and what to look forward to.
Excellent. He's Chris Bitters. He's the general manager of the Delmarva Shorebirds. 7th inning stretch. We're thrilled that he had time to be with us here today. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
I'm Greg Bassett from the Salisbury Independent Newspaper. Another edition of One-on-One right here on Pack 14.
First Shore Federal is proud to support PAC 14 and One-on-One. We'd encourage every business to support PAC 14 and pick a program and support it, and let's make a difference.